Groovy. Groovy. Welcome to the Shuttlecast. And on today's special episode, we'll be discussing Evil Dead High Rise. And along with...
Oh, that's the joke.
You fucking... Yes, that's the joke. Really?
Medieval Dead.
Oh, fuck. Damn. Along with tangential Evil Dead things.
Sure.
So if you're listening to this Shuttlecast...
Spoilers for everything.
We will probably not talk about too much from other stuff, but it will show up now and again.
Sure. It'll show up in comparison in vague terms.
And larger discussion. So...
Yeah, okay.
We have all seen Evil Dead Rise.
Yes.
Not all of us have shared all of our thoughts with each other.
Sure. Yeah, because I watched it with Nathan.
Yeah, and I watched it.
You saw it in theaters?
I saw it opening night.
Very nice.
Because I support...
I saw it the following weekend.
And then Nathan showed it to me through a digital copy.
Yeah. So we've all seen Evil Dead Rise. Mm-hmm. I know that Nathan has some... I think you both have some opinions about it that might differ from my opinion.
Here's the thing: this is what I predict.
Let's have a discussion.
We'll technically agree. It's just about how much we're all going to agree on certain points for the most part. But I think that overall, we're going to take away maybe something different.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we all are going to... Yeah, I think we're all going to agree to a degree. But whether or not those agreements matter more to some than others, I think will be different.
Whether those agreements matter more to some or others, you sound like a politician.
Yes.
No collusion.
Collusion. Opinions are going to be had.
Yes.
So,
do we want to start with general feelings then?
I think that this is the weakest Evil Dead movie / visual medium. I don't want to include the games yet because the game is not even a story, and I have not played the 3 OG games from late 90s, early 2000s, and since I was like 10. So I can only discuss Fistful of Boomstick, Revelate, whatever the fuck, and Hail to the King. Yeah. But in terms of like movie show, this is the weakest. Mm-hmm. That being said, I still like it a lot. Yeah. I think it is a really solid movie that I think personally, and it's odd to say this about the longest Evil Dead movie, it should have been longer. I think for me, I wanted more of the movie, which is odd because Evil Dead's very classic for 90 minutes in or out horror, right? Mm-hmm. But I think with Evil Dead Rise, I think that they don't go into it enough for me. For me to have it be above anything else in the franchise. And the things that they do really well, they could have gone harder on, but I think there's reasons why they couldn't. Now, in talking about this, we have to all kind of understand that, like, this movie was shown in theaters, you have to remember it was made for streaming. And then they were
so it was like Prey and the new Hellraiser and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it would have been in that vein of, like, Prey, Hellraiser, right? Yeah. But by the time this was going to come out, COVID was ending, and then Sam Raimi was like, I love this movie. Bruce Campbell was like, I love this movie. And then the test screenings were really good, so they put it into theaters. So while it is technically a theatrical release, I kind of personally give the movie some concessions in the fact that, like, it is a lower... And I know Evil Dead is low budget to begin with, so it's these comparisons are hard because, like... Evil Dead, the original, was done with like no money and on the blood, sweat, and tears, literally, of Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi and company and all the Shemps. Yeah. But that being said, it's the weakest film, but it's the weakest amongst a series of giants, like really fucking good movies. Yeah. And we can get into some more of the specifics, but my general feeling is like, I like it a lot, and I think it's a pretty solid entry. Yeah. That needs some extra stuff that we can get into later, but that's my general feeling.
All right. That does actually remind me. I saw an article recently. I think it was Quentin Tarantino, who talked about how like movies made exclusively for streaming apps are like I think the article said they're not part of the zeitgeist, but basically, like, they tend to fade away a lot.
They're just content.
Yeah. And
I would say so, too. Because, like, Prey, while being really fucking good, doesn't have a lot of lasting impact, unfortunately.
I mean, only for Predator fans.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's not reaching, you know. Hellraiser, the new one, I mean, it has an impact in that the franchise has now come out of... no, even though, you know, we love Judgment, which was the last direct-to-video, people had viewed Hellraiser's fallen so far that... But I can understand what he's saying. That was overall the concept of streaming. The problem is that streaming is the close cousin of binging.
Yeah.
Which is disgusting.
Well,
No
I think
offense,
it's just a sense, because I would say that, like, streaming series are a step up from cable series.
Yeah.
In general.
Yes. In general.
Because you get more miniseries, which are a thing on cable, but not as much. But I would say streaming movies are the step down from, like, it all just kind of feels at that level of, like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
But, like, there's no, like, big event films of, like, streaming.
Yeah, like, this didn't feel like an event movie.
No.
I liked it, but it felt like it should have been, like, odd to say this. There should have been, like, a miniseries. Or, like... Okay, I'll just fucking dive into it, because I really want to talk about this.
Yeah.
I, for years, have wanted to see a horror story set in an apartment. I mean, I've lived in apartments for the past 8 years of my life. And I'm always, when I was growing up, really sick of movies always taking place in some big fancy fucking house in the middle of California.
Yeah.
Really annoying me. Every fucking movie you watch that's a horror movie set in like a house, it's some big fancy house. Part of why I love Evil Dead is because it's a fucking cabin in the woods. There's not many places to go in a cabin. You know what I mean? And it's super dope. So when I heard about an Evil Dead film in an apartment, I was like, you can go to so many places in an apartment. You can go to the gym, you can go to the pool, the parking garage, like all the amenities, all the different places you can go. You can like have horror where like as you're trying to escape, the deadites are infecting more and more apartments, and then all of a sudden the whole thing has gone to shit. Like my brain was like spinning with all these ideas of like, oh fuck, an Evil Dead movie in an apartment complex sounds great.
Yeah.
And this was good, but like they're on one floor for 90% of the movie, and then they're in the parking garage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you didn't go to like, you know, there's no fun scene in like the pool room. There's no fun like hot tub sequence where someone like gets their face melted off in the hot tub that's too hot.
Yeah.
There's no like some gym bro is working out. There's a deadite invasion and the fucking gym equipment tries to kill him. You know what I mean? Like all these things that I'm like, ooh, Evil Dead in an apartment, and then it's just like, what we got is good, but it feels like I want an extra like half an hour.
Here's what I'll say is yes, the film suffers from this problem that I come across occasionally, and we've all come across this, is where it either should have been shorter or longer, because the moment when I kind of realized is when we had these side characters who were on the same floor. I was like, oh, interesting. Are we going to get them developed at all? No, not really. Like, we start to, and then they just die and become deadites.
And to be fair, I enjoyed the sequence where we're just in the perspective of the eye hole and they're all being murked. Yeah. It is cool. At the same time, when they introduce side characters... It was
definitely we couldn't kill the kids yet.
Yes.
So in the movie, we needed death, so...
Yeah, and I was like, oh, so fun. We have a side character. We have the militia guy from Ash vs. Evil Dead. He survived and is now living in LA. That's so great. I'm happy he's still around.
Yeah. So to share my experience briefly before we get more into it.
My story.
So I have the benefit of being the only one to have watched this movie twice now. And
that's fair.
The first time I watched it, I told Joe this when I was showing it to him. My first impression was I didn't like it, I think. And then upon a rewatch with Joe, I have pretty much decided that I think it's crap. I think that
he didn't tell me that.
Here's the thing. So, you know, I'm an Evil Dead fan, big fan of the franchise, the concept, and everything. So, you know, when I was on my phone, anytime like looking stuff up on the internet, there was one thing about this film that they pushed really hard.
I agree with what you're probably about to say.
So,
and I was also too annoyed by the lack of this thing.
So I saw this in lots of articles from like the director, from the actors, people in the movie.
Everyone's talking about this.
It's like, oh, it's so great because this Evil Dead movie, it's not in a cabin in the woods, and it's like,
oh, I thought it was something different.
Okay, that's cool. Like Army of Darkness, or like 20 out of 30 episodes of Ash vs. Evil Dead aren't in a cabin in the woods. That's cool. But like,
20 out of 30,
so there's like more to it than that, right? And then the movie, to me, it starts with the cabin in the woods and everything. It's like, oh shit, and it admittedly has the best title reveal of every Evil Dead movie.
That is, that I think objectively is my favorite title reveal, probably.
Yeah, that was real good. And then, so it does its little like cold open for like 3 or 4 minutes.
Actually, sorry.
Yeah, but then it goes one day earlier. I'm like, oh, okay, so we get to learn about these characters and find out how they got to this place, and like, oh, I'm really excited to see. At some point. And it's like, no, and it's like, yeah, maybe at some point, but like the way this movie begins and ends, I think is a detriment to this movie itself. I think
it's superfluous.
I think the thing that I like about this movie is it sets up the concept of other Evil Dead events happening and making it easier, reconciling the different Necronomicons and stuff like that.
There are 3 volumes of the Necronomicon.
Yeah, I'm like, oh shit, that's cool. Cool.
3 books.
But as far as
3 books,
but like as far as this movie itself, I don't give a shit about any of the characters. And like you kind of pointed out, once you get past the Deadite rampaging in the hallway, this being in an apartment is not any different than it being in a cabin.
It's not.
Like,
it's not, and like I feel like it's, and it sucks because like, I feel like if I had watched this film like I had watched the original films like years after they had come out, and if I just heard like, oh cool, the name of that movie called Evil Dead Rise, it's set in an apartment, cool, put it on, watch it, oh, that was cool, all right. Yeah. I could have done more with that, but whatever. But it's the fact that there was so much marketing behind it.
Yeah.
Really made me, and again, that's why I was having all these scenarios in my brain of like, you can do so much, and they didn't.
It also runs into certain things, and again, you guys have seen them again probably more recently than me, but with the cabin movies, I'll call them.
Yeah.
Scenarios where stuff is happening in a certain part of the cabin, to me, seemed more, and the people not hearing it, seemed more believable. Whereas in this movie, there's this scene that really bothered me, like the moment it happened. It was when she's listening to the recording on the headphones, and she has like these noise-canceling headphones on.
And to be fair, that character is like a DJ type thing, and early in the movie they established...
The aunt.
Yeah, no, that they're using like the I forget the character's name.
But my issue is that rather than do what any normal person would do, which is I need to know if something happens with the kids in the front of the apartment, I'm gonna have one off my ear.
Yeah,
she has to have them on so that nothing can enter her ears that something is happening.
I don't like wearing headphones at all.
Yeah.
Because I don't like not be able to hear my surroundings.
Well, it just seems bizarre to me.
If I knew there's a fucking demon outside, I would play it over like a speaker or just have one on,
Because I understand the reasoning is we need to keep an eye to make sure they don't break in.
Yeah.
But if you cancel out your senses, the kids are going to be mincemeat, and you don't have the kids with you.
But we have to have the cool scene where she creeps into the ceiling, though.
That's great. They can all be focused.
That's great. That's great. They could all be listening to it, and then that happens. There's just things in this movie where they didn't consider the fact that in most apartments you can hear what's going on in the other room, so we have to contrive this way that she doesn't hear it.
Well, and another that's the thing is you could I would say that apartment about the size of the cabin or whatever, but it feels very small, and it feels like there's so many different instances of like. That crazy thing just happened, like we just got away. Okay, I gotta go. You guys stay right here, and it's like
I want to split it up.
How hard? Like you have to be trying in this apartment to be split up as many times.
Bro, in an apartment that small, just stay together.
Yeah,
there's no reason to not
happening because that's how you get stuff.
Wasn't it? I forget because I only watched it once, like when it fucking came out.
Yeah.
But wasn't the reason why she wanted to be alone listening to the tape was because she was scared something like she might get possessed or something in there, like while listening to the tapes or something like that.
I don't think she said anything explicit. It was just weird because she
had a reason. I just forget what it. I think that might be what it. But I forget.
I think that it was just weird that she very specifically was like, "Okay, you can stay out here." Like closes the doors on them. So I do think that is her reason. But then it just like
I'm not sure how explicitly it was said because none of us can remember that.
Well, I think I
have a vague memory of it, but is that me making up what I think the character was thinking, or was that the movie actually saying it? I forget.
The other thing that really bothered me, that the scene when I was watching it, immediately I was like, I don't buy this, is the kids know that their mother is now psychotic or whatever. They may not know what's going on, but the little girl is guarding the door.
And to be fair, she is a small child.
I don't care.
I do. Kids are stupid.
So here's the thing. In reality, the kid, for some reason, is told alone to guard the door, for some reason.
No, it's because Auntie Beth is listening to the tape, maybe by herself to prevent possession, maybe just to whatever. And then the other one got needled. And so the Eco Warrior went off. I forget her name. But the Eco Warrior character went off on her lonesome to, like, look at that in more detail, and she starts to have the whole scene where she's like, it's possessed.
Yeah. And
then those like characters in the universe making mistakes leads the little girl being alone, leads her to the mom.
But here's my problem. In the original Evil Dead, when Ash is being tormented, and he's a grown man, right? I understand that. But when he's being tormented and the Deadites,
it's Ash is a bit
lapse in control. And it's the real person.
Yeah.
You have that moment of going like, maybe they're not but here, rather than do like, oh yeah, like I've reverted, I don't look like monstrous anymore, like, no, please just let me in. Then I could go like, oh, the kid made an emotional decision, but it's the fact that she still looks like a demon, and the kid's like, yeah, she's saying things that my mother would say, so of course I'm gonna let her in.
I do, but I will kind of, I agree, but I don't agree. I think that they should have done the OG Evil Dead thing of, like, she looks normal again.
Yes. Yeah.
However, that scene of her, like, I'm all better now, and look, your dad's here, right over here, sweetie. And, like, they established earlier that she misses the dad and stuff. I like that manipulative scene. I just wish that she would have been not in fucking zombie makeup for it.
It's just like, I
think the acting was good. It was shot well, but I think they should have just had her be herself for that scene. And then when she opens the door, you have the.
I think,
and then she's a dad again.
Yeah. I think that's kind of my thing with this movie. And
do you think they should have had, like, probably like 2 more drafts, and it probably would have been way better?
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing for me is, and this might be a me thing, and obviously this is not ironclad, but for me, I don't care how popular Stranger Things is. I don't care how successful the It movies were. I don't need a bunch of children in my horror movie, because it just leads to situations like that where it's like, why would the kid be at the door and let her in? Oh, well, because kids are stupid. It's like, okay. That doesn't cut it for me.
And the mom did some pretty good manipulation.
It was good manipulation, but like, as soon as that scene starts, it's like, of course she's going to do this because she's a dumb fucking child. Yeah. And no one would be fooled by this except for a child. But to be fair, this dumb kid did invent Daphne, so you're welcome. it was set up and paid off. You know.
There's an issue with kids in movies because either 2 things happen with kids in a horror movie. The kid lives, and we're like, oh, of course the fucking kid lives, it's the kid.
Yeah.
Or the kid dies, and we're like, oh shit, they killed the fucking kid.
Yeah.
And, like, either way, like, you're gonna piss somebody off.
Sure.
Because either you don't kill the kid, and we're like, oh, of course, or you do kill the kid, and everyone's like, ban this movie.
I don't think it's necessarily that. I think the issue you run into is...
Well, because for me, I felt like she was safe the whole movie. She never felt endangered for me. Like Beth, the other 2 kids, everyone else, I felt like they were in danger except for her.
Maybe I'm dumb, but I'll give a comment to this movie. I never felt like the kid was immune from harm, but the problem was in that scenario where she messes up, I did feel she was immune from harm. It should be the reverse.
Yeah.
She should feel immune from harm, and then she makes a mistake, and I'm worried. Like,
yes,
you ran out of time.
Something bad should have happened to the kid.
Like, she like her arms, do something.
Arms scratched.
But the problem is, if you get
the little kid should lose a hand.
You could have found a way to do it, but the problem is with the Deadites.
There it is.
With the Deadites, the rule I think is that. So here's I have a question.
Okay, I have an answer.
Because I'm remembering the 2013 one,
which I watched really recently, so I can get you on that one.
So
I watched the director's cut.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's the Deadite injures you and gets in you, or if any fluid gets in you.
Okay, here's my. Okay, listen. This sounds depressing. I spent my whole life thinking about this.
Yes.
Because when I was a kid, I'm like, what the fuck makes it so you get possessed by a Deadite?
Yes.
Yeah.
And for me, I always feel like it's mental fortitude.
Okay. So if enough trauma happens to you,
yeah,
then
which
you'll
is
get possessed.
oddly enough kind of how the game works that we played. In a way, the more afraid you are, the easier it is for possession.
Yeah.
And the reason why I always imagine is why Ash is always never possessed is because he's so stupid. He can't get possessed because he doesn't let himself think about it that hard because he's an idiot, and that's why I love him. But for like other characters, I think it's like a mixture of like the demon scares you to the point it gets into your system. Like I feel like there's bits in like when she gets stabbed in the face, right? She's worried about it.
Yeah.
And that worry the demon feeds into.
Okay.
Yeah. And if it was done on a different part of the body, per se the hand, you could sever the infection and then feel safe because, I cut off the infection, I'm safe now, so you believe you're safe, so you're fine. Which is what Ash believes, right? That's why he cuts off his hand and he's like, okay, I'm safe now, we're fine.
Right.
So with her...
So your mind makes it real.
Your mind makes it real. And then once you're like that mentally weak, the Deadites can take over your body. And then you're fucked.
Okay.
Right? That's how I've always viewed... Or not always. That's what some of my years of watching these movies and thinking about it has led me to believe is that it's fear. It's you making it worse for yourself. Which is why, like, again, you watch Ash vs. Evil Dead. You know, Pablo is so hopeful, Kelly's so angry, and Ash is so stupid they can't get possessed. Or at least that often.
Well, yeah. On occasion.
Listen, these things happen. We have 30 episodes to get through, okay?
Yeah,
for sure.
But that's what I think, is that, like same with like in the Fede Alvarez one, like she gets like Mia gets trapped alone, she's scared, she's in this strange place, she's offered drugs, she gets cornered, and that's why she gets possessed because she's fucking terrified.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I always think it was what it is. So when the girl got needled in the face,
right,
it was her overthinking and worrying about it and trying to fix it that led to the demon being like, hey there.
I think again I'd have to go back through. I think that is a good headcanon.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good way to do it.
It's probably not ironclad, but it's probably the best you can get with what's the information available.
Because I know in 2013, again, I don't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure that like they went more towards like the way they did it was like, okay, any fluid and it kind of gets in you, but in this movie it seems more like if you get deliberately injured by it.
I think it starts with an injury.
Yeah.
Is how they can get into you.
Yeah.
But then you have to let it essentially take over your brain.
Yeah.
And to a degree.
It was just weird to me that because the main girl, again, I think her name is Beth. I should look this up. Beth. Yeah. She's the first one to get injured right away. She gets the glass shards stabbed into her hand, and and like not a hint at all.
I think for me, what I believe for the movie is that she has to stay strong for the kids, so she doesn't let it affect her.
Here's one thing
because she has to like be the one to take charge and make sure everyone's out okay. So she never has a moment to worry about it. She's like, okay, shit, that sucks. Let's move on. Whereas like the other kid is like worrying about it and then gets infected.
Here's one thing that is kind of a complaint for me about the movie. I understand that it's very risky, but you chose to write it this way. You have a character who is dealing with like a pregnancy. There is
two souls.
There's almost no like real drama developed other than the initial.
She's very early.
There's this. It's good to establish between the sisters the relationship, like the dynamic, and how later on that is used by the Deadite to insult her and break her will. But I understand it's controversial, but I would have liked more of an insight to, okay, like, who was the dad? How is she feeling about keeping the kid or not keeping the kid? Like,
see it in a longer movie.
Well, that's my thing. Is like, is you could have cut certain things out and put that stuff in and had a stronger character piece, or just make it longer, or just make it shorter, and you can just do the maternal arc without having her actually be pregnant.
Because I think what they wanted to do, and because to me it's like, oh, she has this drama that she wants to talk about with her sister. Her sister gets turned into a deadite. She doesn't get to discuss it really.
Yeah.
And then like the rest of the movie is kind of just the deadites poking fun at it. Like, I hate the rumbly things in my tummy and stuff like that.
Yeah, why wasn't the arc?
That.
Why wasn't the arc? I'm going to get rid of the kid, and then taking care of these kids made me realize I do want to be a parent.
Because I think that's what they wanted to do. Because eventually you get the littlest kid asking her, "Are you going to be a mom?" And there's like this really dramatic, "Yes, I am, and I'm going to get you out of here." And it's like, okay, so was there indecision? Were you thinking of getting rid of it? Were you leaning to like? I just wanted.
There should have been a scene. Okay, here's what I would have done on a redraft. Also, first of all, so the whole reason why this happens because the mom is going down to the laundry room to do laundry and she gets infected.
Yeah. She gets in the elevator after telling them not to get in the elevator.
A quick aside. Yeah, she's yes.
Yeah, hypocritical bitch.
Well, moms say these things, right? Like, don't do this.
It's
and then
Don't do what I do.
Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do. For also, as an aside, some horror should have happened in the laundry room. Someone gets stuck into a fucking dryer, gets spun or whatever. Jesus Christ.
They didn't want a porn joke. So, sorry.
But you could have had a thing where, like, they go into the elevator together and they talk on the way to the laundry room.
Yeah.
She puts some stuff in the washer. They
And
go
on the
back
way
up. And then I maybe, like, later the mom goes back for the dryer, for the clothes in the dryer.
Sure.
Then she gets infected. So you still have her in the elevator.
Yeah.
But, like, you can have a scene where they are away from the kids, alone, talking.
Yeah.
And maybe in that time you set up the other girl in the apartment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe she's also doing laundry.
It just fucking slept through the whole shit, I guess.
So that's what is also annoying to me about the movie is, like, so they establish early on, after the Deadites have taken over, that the elevator doesn't work.
Yeah.
We find out later for a pretty silly reason, but
very silly reason,
but I get it.
Evil Dead-esque.
Evil Dead. But then also the stairs are, like, collapsed.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, what? And so there's other people in this complex. And, like, what are they doing the whole movie?
I don't know.
Has the Deadites made it so that they can't hear what's happening? What is it? What? Like, I don't understand. Like, I wish.
Well, it's because I understand there was an earthquake, but there's no, like.
See, if you had been
attempt
establishing,
to, like, we're calling to get emergency services here because the stairs have collapsed.
like, if there had been some scenes of that other girl, like, remember, okay, here's what you could have done: have them go down and do laundry. They have the whole talk about the pregnancy, not wanting to have the kid, and then you have the other girl. She's doing laundry too. You just establish her, right? And you're, oh, that's the girl from the opening. Cool.
Yeah.
And then maybe later, you can have a funny scene where, like, you know, maybe, like, a neighbor's gonna get killed in, like, one of their apartments by the Deadites, and it's, like, an outside the apartment shot, and you like, pan down, and that's that same girl. She's the only, like, lit up room in the apartment. She has headphones on, she's, like, singing some song, and you're like, okay, well, she's not hearing what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then maybe you have some, like, she has some brother, and he's, like, playing Call of Duty, and really loud, so then all the gunshots, she just takes it to the game, even though it's...
Yeah.
This could have taken, like, 3 minutes to shoot. But what I'm saying is, like, you could have, like, really tied it in better and also had more stuff in the apartment.
Well, yeah, again, I think, Nathan, you brought it up, is that, yes, it's not in a cabin in the woods, but functionally it is
about
basically
the same.
Yeah. Well, and again,
it's in the cabin in the woods where there's no forest.
Yeah.
You're just in the cabin.
Yeah.
And again, that's the thing about this movie. I feel like it's just so proud of the fact that it's not a cabin in the woods, that, like, the opening is effectively a joke to just be like,
for me,
how do we get there to this cabin, like, what happens there? And then the very end of the movie is just like, oh yeah, I guess they get to the cabin eventually.
It felt like a studio note to me.
Yeah,
a very well filmed, well edited, well acted studio note.
You think that they said that it needs a horror sequence at the beginning and
to establish the tone of the movie, and also to show that have something else in the trailers. And also to have you think it's going to be in a cabin, but it's not.
Yeah.
Because everyone who saw the trailers, I thought that, like, it was gonna start with them like as kids finding the book in the cabin,
Right.
and then they take it home, and then like she brings it back, and then one of the other kids opens it, and they have like this deep secret of when they were kids.
Yeah.
They opened the book and they got out, and then this is now them as adults, and then that happens all over again. And now the demons finally get the mom. That's what I thought the movie was gonna be about.
When I got to this ending and it was like, this is how it ties to the beginning, I'm like, this was none
That was
of this
fucking weak.
None of this is.
It was laughable.
So she got possessed by the evil,
How?
and then went to the cabin,
And then she
picked up her
drove
friend.
Even though we know, like, in Asher's Evil Dead, even though it's, like, tangentially canon to this, at least the first 2 seasons are canon. Because then 3 is the alternate reality. I don't want to talk about it.
Yes. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot happening here. It's within cells and their length, yeah. You're telling me the demon met up with the friends and went to the cabin and then was being weird?
Yeah. It's a bit contrived.
It's a bit weak.
Yeah.
It's a bit weak. But whatever.
Let me point out some things that I did like in this movie, just for calming down and everything. I liked that. This is probably, I'd have to watch all of it again, and I will happily do so because I love Evil Dead. I feel like this is the first Evil Dead entry where they listen to the recording of the shit and they realize, oh fuck, this needs to stop. The kid tries to stop the recording and just keeps going.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Holy shit. Although it is also very funny when Beth tries to stop it and then the possessed Deadite does the Stitch thing of like I was like,
I love that.
what is
this? Well, Evil Dead's always a little bit wacky, so I really that the eyeball swallowing.
Yes.
Mommy's with the maggots now.
Yeah.
And there should be crosses on my tum-tum. Like,
Yeah.
you can hear Sam Raimi laughing somewhere, like just giggling to himself.
No, the acting was all good.
Apparently, the bit when she swallowed the eye, the ADR for that is Bruce Campbell chewing into an apple.
Good.
There's another Bruce Campbell cameo for you. He's on the recording. Some people think it's actually Ash. He's time traveled into.
Let's not read from the book.
It's called the Book of the Dead for a reason.
Yeah.
Shuts him up.
Yeah.
I also really like the Deadite amalgamation. I hate. I think it's
So okay, all right. Listen, I like the idea of it. I like it, and then I realized, oh God, this thing's practical. They can't do much with this.
Yeah.
And then the movie ends, and I'm like, they like made this really cool thing, but then they were like, it can't fight.
Yeah.
We can't show it from too many angles, and so the climax for me felt really rushed. There should have been more to it, and I hate to say these words. Maybe if it was CGI, it could have been a bit longer.
Maybe.
However, I'm happy. I'd rather take I don't know. Would I rather have a rushed finale with practical effects or a fully fleshed out finale with CGI? I don't know.
I mean, to me, it just felt like the Abomination from 2013. It was the same thing. Like, it's this practical. No.
No, the Abomination was just like some person.
Well,
This is like a fucking like the thing.
No. I understand visually, but it's the same concept.
Oh, in essence, yeah, it's the same thing.
It's just that, and it's the same kind of thing where it also was defeated fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I feel like they were just taking a page out of that and
But
saying,
I felt like Mia went through more.
Oh,
at
yeah.
the end.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is the truck falling on her hand and having to rip it out is just that makes it everything. And so, like, I wish like the little girl in this one maybe got hurt, or Beth would have gotten hurt more.
Yeah.
I do like them hiding around the cars, the things like.
yeah.
But again, it's more like we can't show it too much, you know.
My favorite part of that encounter though is when she gets the shotgun. She's like, "Come get some," and then you just see it in darkness, and it throws the chainsaw at her. It's like, "Oh fuck!"
That was very funny.
That was
That was great. I also the little girl having to turn on the machine to kill her family. Basically, it was pretty great.
That was pretty great.
I do enjoy the hallway scene, even though it's very self-referential because of it happened in 2. But the Dead by Dawn, I think, was pretty creepy.
I
They're
liked
all like chanting as they're morphing together.
I liked that. I didn't like how it started with the kid Deadites fake being sad over their mom and just immediately showing the ruse. Because I'm like, can we go now?
One thing also about this that I disliked is I don't like when things set up something and don't pay them off. They set up the abandoned apartment.
Yeah.
And we never go into it. And I'm like, what the fuck's in there?
Here's another thing that feels like there's
Also, something that made me laugh is that they were records. What if they didn't have a turntable?
It's a hipster in 2023.
I understand, but it is a little.
They are very uniquely equipped.
If anyone else had found this,
I want to argue that, but when I saw it in the movie, I thought it was pretty clever because records and turntables are really back in style right now. Yeah. So that made sense to me why they would have a turntable.
Unless you want to say go really headcanon, it took the form of what it needed to.
Maybe it did.
Maybe it could have.
Yeah. But I think it's pretty realistic to say that a someone in that apartment complex would have had a turntable.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of its prevalence at the moment. And in the past few years, actually. It's been a few years since they've turntables.
Vinyl is back.
I can agree with that. So,
I think it was very interesting how they tied that into the movie.
I think it was clever having it be a record. I don't disagree with that.
But yeah, what if, right? Yeah. What if they had these tapes and they're like, oh shit.
Oh, I can't play this, huh?
Also, so they say this twice. Well, first when it's the mom regular, and then once she's the Deadeye Abomination, she says that Beth looks like mom, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what your I don't really know what your guys' relationship is, but they say, you look like mom, and then it's better than looking like a tampon. It's like, that's fun. Then at the end when she's like covered in blood and it's the Deadeye Abomination, it's like, now you really look like mom, and it's like, what is?
I think what the film didn't go into
is also a draft.
Yeah. I think what the film was going into is that my mom was also a whore. And I'm trying to not be a whore. And you are.
They kind of established that a bit.
And it's also, I think I don't know.
But the look like is different than you're just like.
Yeah. But there's a part where I think it's right after Beth saves the little girl from being an idiot and slams the door and locks it and everything against her Deadite sister. And she's looking through the keyhole, and the Deadeye is like, open this door like you opened your leg, you stupid groupie slut. And she's like,
so funny.
I'm not a groupie. It's like, so you are a slut.
Yes.
That's great.
Well, yeah,
but I think that was intentional.
I think that was intentional.
That was intentional. No, that was deliberate. That was
deliberate.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of things I wish the movie did that they didn't do.
Yeah.
I think that what we got was fun.
I guess it's one of those things where it's the curse of having an IP, right? You get the benefits of
the brand recognition,
the brand and the previous lore and the elements, but you're also weighed down by the fact that if this hadn't had this title, we probably would be more favorable towards you. So
yeah.
I also will say, so there's one big thing I've been avoiding the whole time that really pissed me off that never happened. So early in the movie, there's an earthquake. We gotta see Henrietta's Pizza, which in my theater that was full, I was the only one who laughed.
Oh.
No, I'm like, really, guys?
I didn't catch that either. So
yeah, on the pizza box they have it to Henrietta's.
That's great.
Yeah, and I laughed. No one in my theater laughed, and I was like,
come to Henrietta.
What are we?
Fake fan.
Kind of Suicide Squad. But. So there's an earthquake, and then they find out there's an old abandoned bank or something underneath the apartment.
Yeah.
And in this bank, there's crosses and stuff. There's a big thing of Jesus, which leads us to a sarcophagus.
Yeah.
And that's where the book is. And I'm like, cool. So the book is calling Danny down to the book.
Right.
Picks it up. Is the one that reads the whole movie. I'm like, I can't wait till we're in the underground bank trying to escape the apartment. And there's old deadites and stuff and old creepy things in this abandoned thing. Yeah. That scene never happened.
No. Also, why was it the Monster Book of Monsters?
Because they had to make the third.
Stein, of course.
Because they had to make the third Necronomicon different from the previous two. And I say previous two as in 2013 and Evil Dead 2 onwards.
See, they should have made it look like the even though it's the most boring design, they should make it look like the one from the very first movie.
Yeah.
It's now we've got the ones from 2 through Ash vs. Evil Dead 2013.
Or it should have been H.R. Geiger's Necronomicon.
I haven't seen. Oh, you mean his actual
his book? Yeah,
that'd be a funny joke. It's the Necronomicon, H.R. Geiger. The art's rather quite nice.
Yes. Yeah, but I think for me, the whole movie, I was waiting for them to get back into the underground thing because I'm like, okay, because of course they really set up the whole. It's in an apartment. It's in an apartment. It's in an apartment. And so I'm like, well, there's not many places to go in an apartment. Yeah. So early on, they established the bank. I was like, oh. They go to the bank.
I think the thing is
it's like Barbarian, where they go underground, but you don't see any of the trailers. But
yeah,
No.
I think maybe the arc for this should have been that you somehow find a way to do some of these set pieces throughout the complex, trying to get out, then the parking garage, then the bank, then they get out. And that you should, I mean, I understand like it's claustrophobic and it's meant to, the theme of like the horror of a living space.
Yeah.
But I think they were just in there way too long.
Yeah, they easily, I mean, not easily, obviously, because everything costs money, but like I love the idea of like descending deeper to escape something.
Yep.
Like I love like Diablo, Barbarian, other stuff where it's like it's all about like going deeper and deeper. Mm-hmm. So for me, it would have been really fun if like the last 20 minutes of this was in the bank, trying to escape through that.
Yeah.
And maybe have like a band of survivors all throughout the apartment complex, and then they start getting like they get to the parking garage, and like the Deadites have like already broken the exit and stuff, but there are all these survivors there, and they're like, "Oh, what do we do?" And like Beth just like takes charge, and they go into the bank, and they just get fucking murked,
I mean,
right?
because let's be honest, I brought this up when I was watching the movie with Nathan. There's a very clear influence towards the last part of this movie, and I don't think it seems kind of dumb to say, but it's obviously like Aliens. It's Ripley and Newt. Yeah. It's like, hey, I'm the adoptive mother, and I'm protecting you from the queen bitch who get away from her, you bitch moment, you know?
Yeah. And I'll kind of piggyback off of what you were saying. I feel like that was I had that general feeling throughout the whole movie of like, oh, this is gonna get good. What's next? Yeah. And then you get past the halfway point, it's like, is it gonna get good? Is it gonna make a jump? I'm waiting. Like I never got to that point of like, oh shit, now we're Evil Dead, babe. I was like, oh, we've got a Deadite. Like, what's it gonna do? And it's like, oh.
Yeah. Again, this is.
I
feel the same, but I'm way more favorable.
I agree. I think it sounds like we do. We have the same issues for the most part.
Everything. It's just.
I think you see the potential film more.
Yeah, I look at it and I'm like, I see the movie that they could have made, that they were so close to making, that they didn't.
Yeah.
I'm just happy it made a lot of money. Because that means more Evil Dead. Which could be a good or bad thing.
Hopefully that is indicative of them being like, okay, now we can invest more time and money to like really cash.
Because this was like a little simple streaming thing, kind of in the vein of Prey and Hellraiser. So they probably didn't like. No, I don't want to say they didn't care too much, but they could have cared more.
Well, I mean, they didn't try to do the ambitious 2013 Ash vs. Evil Dead crossover or anything like that.
Oh, dude, so for me, when I first found out about this movie, I was really hoping the whole time that the last with an hour in, everyone would die, and then you'd see the Delta roll up, and out comes Kelly, Pablo, and Brandy, and they just literally just like mow through the fucking apartment complex. Like a fucking Helsing, bro. You know what I mean? Like he comes in the end of Dracula, and you're like, oh shit, and he just fucking kicks ass. Like they're like The Exorcist.
Yeah.
They just come in like at the end of the movie, and they're like, hey, what's up?
Again, this gives me more hope that maybe we'll eventually get that 2013 Ash vs. Evil Dead crossover. Maybe also with these characters from Evil Dead Rise that I don't really care about, but that's fine. You need more characters.
I think you can do stuff with Beth if you try hard enough, and also with the girl when she grows up.
Maybe.
Yeah.
For me, like I'm happy this did well, but I'm excited for what they've talked about with the future. Like apparently Sam Raimi is writing a fucking like lore Bible about everything Evil Dead.
And I think that's good. I think now's the time to do it because this movie made an effort to kind of acknowledge everything in a subtle way.
Yeah.
Well, the 3 Necronomicon thing.
Books.
They didn't need to do that. Like
they didn't.
I was surprised.
That was definitely something that was like, okay, you definitely respect the varied history.
Yeah.
And that feels nice.
And I'm glad that the director went to the effort of like, oh fuck, Bruce Campbell doesn't want to come back anymore, but he's open to voice stuff. All right, just record something for me, please, because I did see in an interview for the director, he's like, oh yeah, that's Ash. Ash is in that recording, so it's like, okay, good. If it's canon to you, then it might be something that you do something with in other movies.
So I'm excited for the same director, maybe with more time, money, and budget.
Yeah.
So I think he could do it. You mentioned a really interesting thing, Josiah, where you talked about the set pieces. I think going forward, Evil Dead should be made the same way Mission Impossible is made. Where a director sits down with maybe whoever the actor is, whether it's whoever, and they're like, okay, what are our set pieces?
Yeah.
And then we just build a movie to that.
It's strangely counterintuitive. That's been done badly before.
But I think for a thing like Evil Dead, that's what you gotta do.
Because, I think if you establish... Because what Mission Impossible does is, okay, like, here's some returning characters. Here's some new characters. Here's the set pieces. Let's build the plot and the arcs around that. And, hopefully it'll work,
Yeah.
So.
And I think that also, again, uniquely suited for Evil Dead, doing the set pieces first also allows you to backtrack and go, okay, then what's the effect on the character? How are they from beginning and end? Because, like, again, watching it again, Evil Dead 2, Ash does have an arc. Like, like, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, he has an arc in the first movie, and then, like, from the second movie, he's just this. Whereas, like...
That's such a fucking dumb take.
It is. It's a very dumb take.
Like, the thing I love about Evil Dead so much is, like, from the Evil Dead through the finale of Ash vs. Evil Dead, Ash has one of, like, my favorite arcs in, like, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And I think Evil Dead 2 especially is this... It's this very interesting thing of, like, what you do once you get scared, like, beyond anything you can control. Like, once you get to the point of, like, well, I can't run from this. I can't really fight this. I can just laugh in its face.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit.
Like, the reason why Ash is able to do things he does is because he gets so mentally broken, he's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And the Deads are like, oh, we can't fight that.
Let me dance with this demonic lamp now. It's like, oh shit, you've lost it.
Well, it's why Army of Darkness is so funny.
Yeah.
Because everyone in the time period is rightfully horrified of the Deadites. Like, they're terrifying. But Ash has just gone through so much that he's just like, he's basically the invincible hero.
Yeah.
Like, he still obviously struggles and all that.
And it's great because he is at that point, but he still gets, like, startled, but it's never like he's never at that level of terror ever.
Yeah, no, because he's just so committed.
Yeah.
And he's also like, I'm in the medieval.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. Like, he's so done. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll make this work. Give me some sugar, baby.
And I feel like, you can, like, I want to see Mia, man. I want to see how
I
she's
miss
doing,
Mia so much.
The
best character in Evil Dead the game.
She apparently oh, they
Like
hate
that?
you for it. She apparently, like, posted a picture on Instagram of her with the two leading ladies from Evil Dead Rise. And I was like,
yes.
please do something.
I've heard a rumor of they're gonna tie everything in more in future installments.
I've heard that Bruce Campbell is starting to go, I could play him again,
Yeah.
not against it. I kind of miss him.
Again, we have a culture where we want to tie everything together, and that has led to a lot of bad things.
Yes.
But Evil Dead, if you have, like, enough creative control, it could be really rewarding to get, like, because Evil Dead has always been a balancing of tones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think you can make all these elements work in the same space and have it be really good.
Absolutely.
I just think the next one to be goofy.
Yeah.
I want the camp.
Because that's kind of the thing. Like, I remember, again, another article for Evil Dead Rise where they're like, oh yeah, we don't go as dark as 2013, but we're not as goofy as Evil Dead 2. And it's like, well, yeah, then you kind of play it safe,
Yeah.
Like, give me a little.
Like, I'm
more
happy there is some
something.
goof. Like, I like
There's some goof.
I like I think one of the funniest jokes in the movie was like, the aunt stabs the mom, and the mom just kind of looks at her, and then they get the cut of her just like flying through the doors, and it was like,
I do love. I wish that had been the last one, because I feel like there's a couple instances also in this movie where, like the screwdriver one where she gets thrown through the door is great, but then, like, shortly after that she, like, stabs her with the scissors and just goes.
okay, like her brain stops because of the scissors.
Yeah. Like, I feel like there's a lot of, oh, I might have killed him. It's like, okay, well, just go. You don't need to check and make sure.
Yes.
But it works for the screwdriver one, because then it's like, you dumb bitch.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, and then you don't see the hit. You just see that her just fly.
Yeah. That's so brilliant.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I like the direction. I like the acting, the cinematography. The setting is a cool idea.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it's the writing that was weaker for me.
This director should definitely do more. It's just
I still need to see his movie that.
Yeah, Hole in the Ground.
I think it's now on.
It's on
Max.
It's on Max.
So.
Yes.
Oh, God,
I have to watch it.
I have to call it Max now.
Me too.
I know.
So also just to continue the conversation a bit longer, if we can.
Yeah, sure. We got time.
Do we have time?
It started, but it's
Okay.
Katie will get here in like 30-something minutes. So.
Cool. The director has said he wants to potentially do his 3 ideas for sequels.
Oh,
okay.
So wait. Does that mean 3 different ideas for one Okay.
Oh, okay.
So either direct continuation of Beth,
Okay.
which we can all agree is the most boring idea.
Yeah.
He wants to do a film about the 1920s recording.
Yes.
Where it's like apparently like the priest just going John Wick on a bunch of Deadites.
Good.
So it's like a weird combo of John Wick and
The Nun.
Annabelle Creation. Oh.
No, The Nun.
Yeah.
Oh, the Nun. Okay.
Yes, because this will be goofy like The Nun, not good like Annabelle Creation.
So that Russell Crowe movie. That
The Pope's Exorcist.
Pope's Exorcist.
Sponsored by WWE.
That's right. How dare you say those words?
Sorry.
And then the other idea, which is my favorite, is the cleanup crew that has to go to the apartment complex after the movie's ended.
Here's my problem with that. That makes the ending and the beginning of this movie worse because you could have just had the cleanup crew get infected at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
You can still do it. I mean, like, if you want to have them also get infected, it's
Because
fine.
then we have more chances to do fun apartment stuff, like all the things I've been talking about.
Or they take it back to, like, the lab. So, I mean, because, like...
They go underground.
Yeah. The fear of the Deadites spreading everywhere.
Or like even like something that I was interested in, but now I don't think, because of how the movie was, I don't think they're going to do anything with. The opening of the movie is the first time we see in Evil Dead that no one survived the cabin in the woods. The Deadite one is
like
just
that.
free, and it's like, oh shit, what are they going to do?
That is really
It's
cool.
floating.
That's
and
really
shit.
cool. Which is what I thought this movie was going to be. They would all die in the apartment, and then the crew would show up, but they didn't, which is sad.
Next movie.
Please.
Please give me
If the cleanup crew, everyone's in like is in like, you know, it's like the raid.
Yeah.
They're all in like armor and stuff, and then when it gets taken off, it's Pablo, it's Kelly, it's Brandy, it's Mia.
It's Mia.
Mia's like the leader of the strike force. I don't know, like, but then you get a bunch of mercs.
That would be cool.
One of them's like Nathan Fillion for some reason.
Well, not for some reason. For very
all
good
the
reasons.
reasons.
For all the reasons.
Very good reasons.
Sorry, the other charismatic hunk that should have gotten a better.
I mentioned this before you had seen it, but isn't Nathan Fillion fucking hot in Guardians 3?
Whoa, like what? Dude, that the rookie money.
Yeah, it's like he's
good.
a little more grizzled now.
Yeah.
It's like
It was good.
looking good.
Because for a bit he was a bit like in Castle.
yeah.
Well, that's because it's Castle.
we all sometimes you peak and
Look, he's just embracing.
But that
his,
ABC rookie money is going good.
he just is gonna be like Michael Biehn. You know, he's.
yeah. That is what
We need him to be future John Connor.
I'll allow it.
Anyway.
So I think we basically all agree about our points. Should we just feel differently about them?
I mean, I'd agree it's the weakest.
It is the weakest.
I haven't.
I'd
rewatch it.
I'd rewatch it the least.
Here's the thing, is that the unfortunate thing is when it ended, I was like, man, this really makes me want to watch 2013 again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was my takeaway, and that's.
It ended, and I was like, I want to go play the games. I want to watch the movies. I want to watch the show.
Yeah.
I want to read the comics. God forbid.
I mean, like, yeah. Let's just say, you got to read Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
I know.
The first one specifically. So I'd say, like, you know, it does a lot of things that the other ones do, and it does overall. It's like good. If someone asked me like, oh, should I watch this? I'd be like,
Yeah.
If you love Evil Dead,
if you love Evil Dead, yeah, sure.
If you want a fun horror movie where people get killed in interestingly fun ways,
yeah.
they overhyped the fucking cheese grater in the advertisement.
Yeah.
Although that was good.
It was good, but they were like they played it up too much.
A little bit.
We have to remember to separate the advertising
I
sins
know, but
from
it's
the...
hard because we're so close to it. You know what I mean? It happened so recently.
I know.
If this was us talking like 5 years, we probably would have forgotten the fact that the cheese grater was so integral. Like they have like cheese grater. They have like Evil Dead Rise. It was, like, emoji of like cheese grater, wine glass, scissors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the needle. Yeah. Like I was so scared for the tattoo gun, and then it just
Oh yeah, a little scratch.
Which led to her like dying, but still.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. That's true.
I imagine like someone gonna like in the eye, you know? Like,
yeah.
Well, again, if you view this as a streaming thing and the fact that it did so well, the truth of the matter is, I mean, look at the people who didn't laugh at Henrietta Pizza. A lot of people, this is going to be their first exposure to Evil Dead.
Oddly enough, a lot of people don't know about Evil Dead. And of course, I have a very small focus group of like, I'm at my day job. I mentioned I'm going to go see the new Evil Dead movie, and everyone's like, what's Evil Dead? And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And it's people of like all age groups, right? And not just like, young people, old people. No one knew what it was. And I'm like, this has been a franchise that's been around for like decades. But
it's not.
But no one.
It's not the ones that keep making more and more sequels until it dies.
Which is what's sad about Evil Dead the game, which we've played and we enjoy, is that it's a niche within a niche within a niche.
Yeah.
So it's never going to do well.
No, it's
unlike a game like Fortnite.
I was gonna say Dead by Daylight.
That too. These games that have Ash Williams in them.
Yeah, but there's other things that.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. It is. Evil Dead has always been a cult icon, and it's kind of good that it stay that way because it's been protected from
a lot of. Do you get a movie every couple decades?
Hey, I mean, it's kind of like
take it.
It's kind of like Mad Max. It's been protected from being run into the ground,
Yes. I saw a thing with Bruce Campbell talking about the lore Bible and everything that I think he's also working on a little bit with Sam Raimi, obviously mostly Sam Raimi, but he's like, so maybe eventually we'll start making movies like every 3 years instead of 10 years. I'm like, okay,
3 is a good number.
3 is a good number. You don't need to close the distance anymore.
That's a year of planning, a year of shooting, a year of post-production.
Yeah,
that's the Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
When you pump not too fast.
Not everyone can be Weta and Peter Jackson. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened to him after that.
Well, that was the thing. Is he did 5 years straight of Lord of the Rings, and then immediately went into Kong.
And then
after that, he
got soul sucked.
Lovely Bones, and then The Hobbit, and died inside.
I'm still sad we never got our Sam Raimi Hobbit trilogy.
It's just
or duology,
or Guillermo del Toro.
Just a couple of realities over.
It's so close, I can taste it.
Yeah, and more.
I'm trying to reach it.
Yeah. Me looking for the guilt.
Watch our King Kong. Listen to our King Kong podcast.
That was good.
That joke. Dude, you can do that when I'm like 70 and I'll still fucking start dying.
That's gonna go in the playbook. That's
an instant. I'm already throwing up. It's so funny because it was so scary that you making fun of it hits both nerves.
Yeah, it gives you that sense of, it gives you that rush of fear, and then also you laugh because
it conjures that image.
I see it in 4K in my head. Anyway, I'm excited for more Evil Dead content. I think that every 3 or so years we have a new one. Everyone really worked hard on it. Mm-hmm. It's not like it's just streaming.
I mean, again, people cared about this. I don't want to give that impression that I don't realize that they worked hard on it. It's just that if I got 3 more movies at this level, I'd be like, this is the drop-off point.
Yeah, me too. But if this is like the popcorn thing that fueled like a beautiful flourishment, like if this good movie birthed a great movie of like doofuses trying to clear out an apartment complex full of deadites that was goofy and scary, I'd be happy. I'm like, cool, thank God for that movie then.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. All right.
I just want the raid with deadites.
Yeah, I do too.
If the raid guy
get like this SWAT guy who goes in, he's like, I know hand-to-hand combat.
I know CQC.
And CQC. And he's just like, taking him out. Goes down the hallway. They're like, wow, that didn't work.
I want the one take hallway fight
with deadites
with a chainsaw.
You get that. It's on a wire. It's not even CG. You're just slowly flying at him, and then he just knocks it out of the.
Yep.
Knocks it into the headlight, the light of.
That's what's. I heard a lot of people say stuff like this doesn't feel like an Evil Dead movie, but I feel like Evil Dead's kind of whatever it has to be. As long as there's a book and a demon taunting people and possessing them.
I disagree. I think this feels like an Evil Dead movie.
Yeah, me too.
It's not like not trying to radically reinvent.
We gotta have an evil movie.
Yeah.
There's no Evil Dead movie feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would argue out of all of them, I could see why people would say that about 2013, just because there's not a whole lot of humor.
Nothing's funny in that movie.
No.
Except for the glasses guy constantly being butchered. Which is just karmically funny.
It is. It really is.
Well, I think the way I feel about this movie is the way some people felt about 2013. Because some people didn't like that it was so serious, but that's what I liked about it.
That is what I liked about it. It's the scariest one.
And then we immediately got the show, which is 3 seasons of absolute hilarity.
Yeah. With some surprisingly touching character moments.
It's karmic balance all throughout, you know?
That's what that's all about.
Yeah. And Drag Me to Hell.
That's right.
Fuck, I love that movie. Anyway, this has been the Shuttlecast. Thank you all for listening to our Evil Dead discussion. Went more pleasant than I imagined. I was really nervous about this.
No,
I was gonna dunk on you like I dunked on your marathon video.
Listen, we all agree.
We all agree.
Just to different degrees.
Yeah. Peace and our
Celsius.
Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit.
That's actually a really good analogy. Like, it's the same temperature, but for my gauge, it says different than your gauge. But we agree, it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
All right.
It's hot.
Thank you all so much for listening. I've been Sal.
I've been Josiah.
I've been Nathan.
I've been Henrietta.